Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be talking about the return of this artist who has taken 4 years off. I was never even sure if she was going to come back. It is Miss Marina Diamandis of Marina and the Diamonds, who is now known just as Marina. Now, a lot of fans might be like, oh no, why did she take the Diamonds part out of her moniker? She never really felt like that was a big decision that she had, like she made in like some split second. It was just like a gradual, like I just feel like I want to just have my name. It's not, don't feel connected to her diamonds, which were her fans any longer. She's built up this community. They don't need to have her added, kind of cumbersome long added thing added to the title. It's sort of like how Florence and the Machine, it's like, why don't we just call it Florence Welch, or just Florence? Because, it feels a little bit cumbersome after, like these people are really solo artists, even though they're not. There's a lot of collaboration that goes on. But Marina was actually always a solo artist. She was never really a band. I mean, she works with tons of different producers and ironically, mostly herself. She is the sole producer and writer of this song, and she was for the entire Fruit album. She is doing things 100% on her own terms, and I love that about her. Completely unapologetic. This song, however, oh my goodness, I wasn't sure quite what to expect, but with the title like Handmade Heaven, I was expecting something quite graceful and something quite epic. And boy, did she deliver on that front. Sonically, I feel like this song is the perfect link up between Electra Heart in terms of the slightly more traditional pop production styles with the lyricism of the Fruit album, with, the much more kind of poetic, introspective, nature-driven lines like she talks about birds. I envy the birds high up in the trees. They live out their lives so purposefully. I envy the spiders, the squirrels, and seeds. They all find their way automatically. But in this handmade heaven, I come alive. Bluebirds forever color the sky. In this handmade heaven, we forget the time because birds of a feather fly together. In the way that she delivers the verses, there's that eerie, slightly off delivery where she changes from major to minor to just give you those goosebumps, and her voice is clear and crystal as ever. Those vowel sounds are as rich as ever. The O sounds, I'm in love with that. And it's a very soaring, graceful track. And it's interesting because she says that, we would listen to this song and we might think we know where this album is headed, but she said, oh, you have no idea. And that has us all scratching our heads. So I'm very intrigued, honestly, to see what the actual concept for this album will be. I definitely am here for Marina being a complete nature goddess. I just watched the music video actually right before I filmed this. I'm glad I was able to catch it just in time. It had just premiered. And she's in this beautiful snowy winter wonderland. There's a lot of flowers blooming. There's a lot of kind of overlays of like this idea of a utopian Arcadian paradise right here on planet Earth. A bit like of an almost environmentalist theme under there, because obviously this heaven that we live on, well, ironically, is not handmade. We didn't create nature. We are a part of nature. But I do believe that when she talks about handmade heaven, it's not necessarily talking about something physical. It's kind of alluring to the idea that heaven is something we create for ourselves. Even though, this beautiful planet that we live on can be heaven or hell for depending on how you choose to interact with it. And the choice to view it as heaven and to create that for yourself, takes some hands-on work. But it's not necessarily like physical construction, it's a lot of like mental hands-on activity. So that's where I'm getting that illusion. Because otherwise you would think handmade heaven or something, you would think of like a city. And she does reference the skyscrapers. The skyscrapers glow like they'll never fall down. So she's contrasting the forest with the urban environment and the comparisons that they may have. Obviously, trees often fall down, and a lot of times wrongly so, deforestation. And then we have the city, and it feels like they're never going to come down. They're monolithic, these forests of concrete. And what should really sustain, what should really survive ultimately? Ultimately, though, it's not just, it's really centering herself. She's really talking about her own sort of quest to find heaven. And what really centers that is in the bridge, and I can no longer ignore the ivy growing tall. This life doesn't suit me anymore. The writing's on the wall. And I get a sense of possibly really deciding, like, I am going to be a lot more of a nature goddess than I am going to be a city lover, because I can no longer ignore the fact that I feel more drawn to the simple, peaceful life where the birds and the trees and the squirrels and the spiders live out their peaceful lives. That's the kind of vibe I'm getting from this song, and I am 100% here for it. So I'm hopeful that there's going to be a very strong nature element. I mean, in the Fruit album, it was all about, fruit, but that was like a playful illusion. It was almost a little bit sexual in points. I don't think so much this album's going to be quite so playful, but who knows? It might be, like she said, there's going to probably be things that completely throw us. So even though I'm expecting something that's a lot more, probably more elegant and more introspective, we could be completely surprised. So ultimately, this just has me wanting more, but I am also just so glad to have a new Marina song. I also love that, it doesn't have any cop-out EDM breakdowns. It feels very much like an anthemic power pop song, in the way it builds and the way it carries its melody, and in the way it really focuses on the vocals and the keyboard work. I think it's a beautiful song that fits its title, because that's a pretty lofty title, I think, spiritually and conceptually. And I was expecting something that was going to be very catchy, but also at the same time just like very soothing. And this song definitely brings that. So I'm very excited to see what's in store for us with Marina's upcoming music this year. It's very highly anticipated. So let me know in the comments what you thought of Handmade Heaven and what you thought of the beautiful music video. I'm curious to know where this was filmed. It looks like it could be Scandinavia or something, because I don't think England gets quite that much snow and that much, winter wonderland scenery, although maybe north in Scotland or something, but who knows? So I'm very excited to see where Marina takes us. Thank you all so much for watching. Peace, love, and light. Bye.